the London edition. In our first ever mini-season, we'll be featuring the best spaces to stay, work and play around the city, from timeless icons to under-the-radar finds. And as well as sitting down with the teams who brought them to life, I'll be bringing you the inside scoop from some pretty amazing people getting up to some pretty great things within travel, design and hospitality. I'm so excited to share all their stories with you, so let's get into it, shall we?
There's hope for all those empty shop fronts. And today I'm joined by Tillie Peel, founder of footfall, who has spent the past 8 years turning empty spaces into unique shopping experiences. She provides artists, makers and small businesses with sustainability equity with affordable and accessible retail spaces. Tillie, it's such a pleasure to be chatting with you today. Welcome to Creative Spaces.
Thank you so much for having me, Molly. I've been listening to the podcast for the last, when we first connected, I think on LinkedIn, and I've been listening to the podcast avidly ever since.
Oh, that's so nice to know it's not just my mum listening. So thank you. Oh, I'm so excited to be talking to you today about the pop-up clubs. I think it's such a cool idea on such an important mission, which I'm sure we'll get all into in a second. But first, I'd love to hear a little bit about you and the life of Tillie Peel.
So we started. So I had to go back quite far, I feel like. So I'm in my lower 30s now, and it started over 10 years ago, back to when I was kind of 20, and I was living in Spain actually, and I was there for a few years, and I knew I was going to come back to England, and there was kind of like all these little markets and kind of little independent hippie little shops in Mallorca and Ibiza and all the places that I was going to in my early 20s. And yeah, when I moved back to England, I realised there was nothing really like that, and it really lacked. I went back to my hometown, it really lacked kind of that personality, and everything was copy and paste. High streets, wherever you go, it's exactly the same. You see the same things everywhere. And I was selling vintage clothing. I had a vintage clothing brand that I had out there, and I actually volunteered in a charity shop, and I would find all these like amazing pieces to like sell. So I carried on doing that when I came back, and I dreamt of having my own shop. And early 20s, I was kind of like in the house shares, and I had a flat that I managed to somehow afford, and I was renting out my room on Airbnb and sleeping on the sofa, and I was sharing out my rent so I could afford it, working all these jobs trying to like start my own business. And then I was looking into the cost of shops, and it was just so inaccessible for me. I was like, the cost of fit outs, the business rates, the rent, like all the things that like I had to put into my business plan and financials. I was like, how the hell am I going to do that? And I said, like, I was sleeping on the sofa and renting out my room. So I was like, why don't I just share? So I was sharing my rent out, ultimately that's what it was. And I was like, why don't I just do that within a shop space? Like, I'm doing that to be able to afford my rent. Why wouldn't I do that inside of a shop? And it was kind of like, I was really inspired by, this was like at the height, you remember like ASOS Marketplace? So I was vintage clothing. So ASOS Marketplace was like this kind of, there was like loads of vintage sellers, like loads of different people selling, but all online. And I was like, nobody's doing that like in real life, like not, you had the concept shop, and that's been around for a long time, and collectors, but like the thing that I was thinking of was not being done. And so I went on to run a market, and I got hold of an old BHS unit back in early 2017. So it was I've been doing that. So 7 years, that was my first shop. We started the markets and my brand in 2016, and then we shared it out, and it's just gone from there really. We've gone on and opened over 25 shops since, and we've done over 1.3 million for small businesses and artists. And it's been a ride.
Amazing.
And now I'm 30.
30 have hit, but what a lot to have done by 30. That's incredibly inspiring. And I also had no idea it started with your sort of Spanish inspiration. And I was listening to you talking, I was like, that's so true. Like almost my favourite bit of holidays. They just have better
The
shops. Whereas
shops,
here,
yeah,
we
they've
go
got so
down
much
any high
character
street.
and personality, yeah.
Yeah, whereas we have like a Boots, 10 charity shops, and just something that looks dodgy. That's just like every British high street. So I think it's so true what you say. And I'm so excited that you're bringing a little bit of that international character and fun and personality to Britain's high streets. But I'd love to hear about that first one. So, because you didn't really have any experience in doing this. So, what was it like taking that plunge?
I've literally been winging it ever since, yeah. No idea what to do. I think, yeah, I left school. I went and done hairdressing after school, and then, then I went and just wanted to travel and, yeah, packed my bags at, like, 18 and just went. So I didn't, yeah, leave school with any kind of qualifications as such or go to university. So, yeah, I really kind of, you know, and actually, the seed kind of was planted when I was like 18. I knew I wanted to work for myself, and the idea of the spaces and stuff that I wanted to do was planted really, really young. But I didn't know what I was doing. I was really just learning, and kind of marketing. Instagram wasn't even like nobody was even building businesses on Instagram. You're like just posting like pictures of your dinner with a
Yeah.
filter on. It was like it was really kind of, yeah, like it was just starting. So I just learned and I just read books, and I went and just Googled everything, and just I had sheer unwavering determination, and have been cursed and blessed with it since I was a child. Um, but yeah, so kind of, yeah, we got a space and just tried it. And I think actually like that what was working, because I had my own brand, and I wanted, I was really trying to build online as well. This was like the time where everyone was buying online. So I was like, I need to build this online shop, and I need to have this income that's going to come through online. And I actually found that in real life, I'd done a load of research, and surveys and everything like that when I first started. I'd done like Prince's Trust courses and things like that, and it came back resoundingly every time that people wanted to shop in person. So I was
Mm.
going to markets, and I was going to every craft market, anything that I could go to and get my hands on at the time, in-person events. And I was like, this is where I'm making, and this is where I'm making my money. This is where I'm actually doing well. And I was like, I need to have a shop. This is what will work. People actually don't like the impersonal nature of online for things that they want to touch and feel. And I knew I kind of like needed to kind of, and there's definitely, you've got digital and online has its place 100%, and we interwove really nicely with that now. But what I wanted to do was something, I guess at the time, was quite different, because everybody was shopping online. Now we've got like, the high street is really evolving now, and we've got loads of more experiential shopping experiences, even down to like M&S. Now it goes in, it's like a food market, like, because everybody wanted something different. They didn't want to just go to a shop that just had rows and rows. They want something that feels like almost like a market, because people enjoy these experiences. They want something different. And it's really kind of, it's actually amazing, I think, in the last couple of years, or especially since after COVID, how we've really seen the impact of this change of people's shopping habits, and how they want to shop more consciously and sustainably, and how that's like getting out there and onto our high streets as well.
Yeah. Oh God, there's so much I want to go into there. The first bit was when you were talking about this, this experiential, not just wanting like rows of stuff. It really reminded me of, did you ever watch Mary Portas, like Queen of Shops?
She's amazing, yeah.
She's amazing. And she would go in and there'd be these companies. I think it was around the time, again, maybe like 10 years ago, when online shopping was starting to take off, and all these poor shop owners were like, no one comes in our shop anymore. Everyone just buys it online.
Yeah,
And she's always like, you have to make it worth getting out of your house for. And
yeah,
has there ever been more apps now post-COVID where people literally, they don't even go to work in person anymore? You have to really give them something to leave the comfort of their nice, cozy, warm home in these horrible January days.
yeah. And also, it's like, it's the stuff that you like people aren't expecting to find that are people
Mm.
buying, and that's our shops in like the ultimately are what they are. You go in there and there's something for everyone. You can find something for whatever gift for any or for yourself, and you weren't expecting to find it, but you absolutely adore it and you cannot not buy it. It's like those places that that we just fit into that. You just walk past, you're like, I had to come in because it's just, I've never seen anything like it before, and they want to come in. And I think actually one of the things about the pop-up club and what how I guess is so much bigger than like my vision now, because we work with so many small businesses, so we give them kind of creative freedom to be able to like really test the market with their products, and give them that flexibility to be able to test the market for them to be able to scale and grow their own businesses. And I think that's what's part of being part of the pop-up club is what's so wonderful. And you can really feel people's personalities in there. So like you got like 30 different brands in there, and you can feel like you're visiting those brands and seeing their stories and hearing about their stories. And I think that's one of the I think one of the most amazing things about
No,
them.
100%. I was actually walking through Victoria the other day and I walked straight past your most recent shop and it was so good. I popped in, I had a proper little browse, and honestly, the way it's all set out, like such personality, you can really feel these brands. And there's a real energy from that. It's an incredibly like uplifting shopping experience rather than
It's
some days where you're
crazy,
like
yeah.
crawling through the sale rail. It was so nice and I left on such a high, honestly.
It's crazy because you're not the first person to say that, and I think like that really shines through, and you can't really box that up. You can't really explain that, like energetically, that's what happened. People come in and they instantly, are like, oh, like the colors and like the personality. And it kind of has just happened really organically, and I had no money, so we built our own units, because I couldn't afford to buy all the shop furniture. So we built these units that kind of I designed with a carpenter who helped me out, and who's still my carpenter now. He helps me out on loads of things all the time. He gets like a message from me. I'm like, I've got this idea. Shout out to Dave. And so we built this furniture, and it was all just wood because that's all we had, and we had loads of I had a scaffolder friend who gave me a load of scaffold boards, and we just built it out of recycled materials. And it's really all of this stuff, like people now, you have designers that are going to like, right, we need to build sustainable, recycle, like designed furniture for the shop. We're like, no, we just had no money. We just done it like with 20 quid in our pocket, and we just got the space, and it was just happened really organically. And it's kind of it's quite a good story, I think.
I love that. And it's funny how you said you made those shelves out of like necessity and a budget and having no money. And actually now it's almost like such an iconic bit of the pop-up club. Like it's so
100%.
recognizable.
All of our like social media, like when you look through all of our social media, like all of the really like high achieving posts are like all of those shelves because everybody loves them, and people are like, where'd you get these shelves from? We're like, we just made them, just try making them. But yeah, they work so well, they fit everything in, and they work, they pack up and down like so quick. Sometimes we have the shop like we'll get the keys a week before, or Victoria got it 3 days before actually, and we've done a whole refit as well and painted it and all sorts. We just they just go up, so quickly, and down so quickly, and they're just because they're wood, any colors or any kind of product that kind of comes in from like stuff that's super affordable to more luxury items, they just work really well. And again, it's just happened by chance, and I think that's there's something in that things serendipitous, I guess.
Oh yeah, those stars are aligning on the pop-up club, I tell you that. And I'd love to hear a bit more about the brands that you feature and the artists and the creators. Like, how do you find them, and like how do they find the experience of having your stuff displayed in public in real life? Like that's such a major milestone for so many of them, I'm sure.
It's so amazing now that like we have I speak to brands, and when they take part, they're like, I had this on my vision board, and at the start of the year, and like this is, and when they become part of it, it's just, yeah, it's incredible. I mean, at the beginning, I would reach out to brands, and quite quickly, I was just putting, our applications out there for people to apply, and now we just have literally hundreds and thousands of people apply every year to be part of it, and it's a very time consuming job of mine that that we go through and kind of see what works and see what areas that we have, and it depends on what shops that we have going at the time and what we're looking for, and we have like our criteria that it has to meet, we as well. But yeah, so in terms of the brands, there's some amazing brands that we've worked with, and now actually, like, especially I feel like in the last year, especially this year or last year, we're like at that stage where we're actually seeing the brands that we've worked with, like, there's true success stories coming through, because they're opening their own spaces, they're taking on their own units, they're taking on workshops, they're taking on staff, they're doing, wholesale. We've got people that are working with the likes of like Anthropology, and Oliver Bonus, and doing Selfridges, like, it's amazing. So yeah, I think it's really, you don't get that when you're like at the start of your business and you're like you're all in the same boat, because you're all just learning and you're all at the beginning startup journey. But now we're like 7-8 years in, and we're like actually seeing like the results of that, and like the impact that we're actually having on the brands that we
That's
work with. It's really
amazing.
cool.
It's really evolved then, hasn't it? From being just like a pop-up shop to being almost like an incubator or something for all these
Exactly.
people with ideas and brands, and giving them that platform to
That's
sort of.
exactly what it is, actually. And there's a really, really cool story I remember years and years and years ago. I think it's a documentary on it, and it's Steve Madden, yeah, who'd done the shoes.
Oh yeah.
He had a shop
Oh yeah.
in the 90s. He had a shop in Times Square, and he had a workshop out the back, and he would go out with a design and make like 10 pairs or something, put them out for the weekend in Times Square in New York. And if they sold in the 90s, that if they sold out over the weekend, he knew, like, we go with those, we make more, and they're going to do well. And I use that story a lot for a lot of the brands that I work with, because that's what we are. We're, that incubator stage, that testing platform that you can really try anything out. Like, anything goes with us. We're not going to turn around and be like, no, you can't do that. Like, if it works in the space, like, we're going to be like, try this, and then people try lots of different stuff out, and they really find what works for them, and it's like a testing platform basically, and it's like the best market research you can do for a business. And I love that story because I think it's absolutely genius. And to have a workshop at the back, I'm just like, so cool. But that's ultimately what we are for small businesses.
I love that. I also love Steve Madden. Shout out. I have very small feet. He starts at like a size 2, which is great for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to Steve and his workshop. So tell me more about those brands then. Because you said before you have criteria. What are you looking for in the brands that come and feature in your shops? And has that changed at all in the past sort of 7-8 years?
Um, no, I guess it hasn't. I think things that are really, that stand out as unique and, innovative and something different. We try to like avoid like saturated trends. We look at areas as well. I think that's definitely maybe that's something that has changed. I definitely look at like areas and what's going to do. Something that's like in the middle of Brighton might not be exactly the same as in the middle of like Blue Water, for example. Like, so, definitely look at areas and the demographics, and I think we've done so many in different areas as well now that we have quite a good idea of what works as well. But yeah, in terms of what we're looking for in brands, it's, sustainability at the core of it all. So where they're being made, the materials, the quality, and kind of like, yeah, the values behind a brand is really important to us. We really want to make sure that they're, you know, safe, welcome, diverse, inclusive environments for everyone. So always, that's always been at the very top. Yeah, uniqueness I think is definitely also super important. And then the brand itself, like what's your story? What's your brand look like? What's your branding like? Are you shop ready? And really like working with brands and getting them ready for that as well is something that we're doing quite a lot of this year as well. We've just released like we've just started doing like our mini guides that go out. So we've done like one on like how to make the most out of your pop-up shop and wholesale and social media. So there's lots of we're doing like a couple of those every month that are just free for small businesses to go in and download that can really help get them ready. If they're not ready now, then we're putting stuff out to get them ready for things like this as well.
Oh, that's so cool. You've got you such an incubator, aren't you? Look at you giving advice and help. I mean, it's just fab. And I can so imagine it's so many people that is just such a boost for them, especially if they're like little solo entrepreneurs, just having that pillar of support to go to and people's brains to pick or people to have a natter with. Like that's just so invaluable in itself. So amazing. And you mentioned people having the pop-up club on their vision board, which I'm so into this year. Just read the manifest book. Love.
Oh yeah, that's
So
so good.
what's on your vision board for 2024 or beyond? Where do you want to take the pop-up club? Any big things on the horizon?
So there's loads. I can't go into all of them, but we've definitely got. I mean, it's amazing. January is normally my quiet time of year and catching up from everything from Christmas. And it's been we had the extension. We just had the BBC News feature as well, which was incredible. So yeah, actually January hasn't been as quiet as it is normally, which is amazing. But yeah, we've got the extension for Victoria. We were 6 weeks to 6 months, so we might not necessarily be there for the whole 6 months because there is another tenant that's coming in long term, but there's that, and we've got other opportunities as well for small businesses, so other shops that are opening, which are all incoming. But yeah, there's lots of things that I want to do. I definitely in this kind of like helping and putting more stuff out there. The mini guides is definitely something that I've wanted to do for a while. So that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to like being able to help more the people that need it and be in places where they need it as well, because we're in really like high footfall locations, and we've done the likes of like Blue Water, and I mean there's shops like us that need to be everywhere. There should be one on every high street, and it's amazing to see like the model, be like more people doing pop-up shops and creative collectives and more shops like this coming up, because I think there needs to be everywhere. The more small businesses on our high streets, the better,
Yeah, 100%. And I know you had a lot in London, Brighton, Essex. Are there any other spots or regions that should maybe keep an eye open this year or down the line for a pop-up club, or was it a bit too early to say?
So we'll be up north again. So we've done shops in Manchester and Leeds. So we're looking to be back up north because we've done Brighton, Blue Water, and London over Christmas, and mostly last year was all down south. But yeah, we're definitely looking to go back up north again and explore that. And then we'll be in London as well. I'm in Essex, so it's not too far, and they're easier to manage than ones that are further away. I guess like in terms of for us as a business as well, is really like looking to grow like our team and as well. At the moment, I'm a one-woman band, pretty much. So I definitely need a bit of help. So we're gonna hopefully grow our team to be able to like help more people as well.
Yeah. Oh, she won't be a one-man band for much longer. That's so fun. I know the royal I. Literally life.
We've done a full circle. We've done a full we've done on it because we've been going for so long. We've done it all, and I done some traveling last year, and it kind of like happened quite organically, and like everyone had their own kind of businesses or you know their own things. So it kind of like the team that we had was kind of, and I did some traveling last year as well. I took some time out to really like work out where we're going to go next. And I was like, after COVID, nobody traveled, we couldn't go anywhere. So I was like, and we grew so much over COVID as well. Like that's when we kind of like saw a lot of our growth. So before that that was under the Bearded Gypsy, which was my vintage company name, and then we rebranded. When COVID happened, it was like one of the biggest shops that we ever had, and we had opened and closed within 2 weeks for COVID. We're like, and I just took on my first member of staff, and I was like, what are we going to do? And we just rebranded, and we're like, right, it's going to be the Pop-Up Club, but it's going to be, we've been using the name as in like the Bearded Gypsies Pop-Up Club. It was way too long. I'm like, right, we need to rebrand. And that's when we kind of like, we saw like a really big growth in COVID, which is a quick growth. That quick is you know, good and bad for all. You know, you go through everything. You have like, you learn all the mistakes at once, you know. So we've done full circle. It's been quite a journey.
What a journey, and very exciting times ahead. I'm so excited to see what 2024 and beyond brings for you in the Pop-Up Club.
Thank you so
Before we
much.
do go, I do of course have my closing tradition of 3 spaces I'm going to ask you. Now imagine you've cashed that winning lottery check, so money's of no issue. Number 1, where are you running away to disconnect and to detox?
Okay, so I did prepare my answers to this because I've been listening to you. So I'm a bit of a petrol head. So I would say a drive. So I converted a camper last year and done some traveling in a camper, and I would either take that to the sea, and go watch the sunset, or my motorbike, or maybe if it's warm, my motorbike, and take my motorbike for a drive.
I didn't know you were a petrol head, Tillie.
Yeah,
Love that answer.
yeah.
Oh, amazing. Okay, well, second one, a little bit different. Or maybe you can have a party in your van. I don't know. Your ultimate birthday party. Where are you hosting it?
So last year, so on this trip that I done last summer, I drove around Europe, and one of the things I've always wanted to visit since I was about 16 years old is the first Airstream camping site. Like, you know, the Airstream, big American Airstreams. There was one in Europe. It's the first one in Europe that was ever around, and it's in south of France. And I visited that, so it's like it's an Airstream campsite, and they've got all these different Airstreams that are like all like going back to like the 60s and 70s, and it's incredible. They're so cool, and I got to visit. I was like, it's been on my bucket list since I was like 16 to go visit. And so they have like this little all these little different Airstreams, and they've got like this little stage area, and it's so cute. And I'd have a party there, so everyone could drive down and camp out after some bands.
A little petrol head party. These are such good answers, and I just wasn't expecting us to be talking about petrol head parties, but here we are. And talking of bucket lists, what would be your once in a lifetime bucket list trip, and would you be staying anywhere special?
So there's like so many places. I'm super just love travel and visiting new places, meeting new people, exploring, but one of my ultimates is Hawaii and Fiji. I've always wanted to visit, always, so hopefully one day.
Excellent answers. Have you watched White Lotus?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
I think take your camper van and miss the hotels. Oh, well, they are exceptional answers. Thank you so much, Tillie. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you today, and all the best for 2024.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute honour. I've really enjoyed every single episode, honestly, so well done and congratulations.
Thank thank you for tuning into this episode.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and if you did, please, as ever, go on and make my day by leaving a little review or hitting that subscribe button. There are so many things I'd love to do with creative spaces this year, and that just helps make all of it possible.
You can also head to our website for loads more content and also some inspiration for your next trip away. So go get planning your next vacation, and I'll see you next time for more of the London edition.